this week is moving along. Happy Thursday. So yesterday we continued to talk or focus on grounding, and I cited an article I found in a women's health website. And today I'm going to cite an article from a men's health website called Knowledge for Men. And the article is called How to Stay Grounded in the Midst of Chaos. So I extracted a few things, like the definition of being and feeling grounded as control of yourself, your emotions, and the stories you choose to believe about your life. So much about the, if you'll remember, the kleshas, the roots of suffering, and the mind, how we can become clouded by the mind conditioning of the ego, choosing what to believe. And then it's also the ability to stay calm and connect to the core of who you are in the face of uncertainty. It means that you aren't controlled by the chaos externally, but rather your values, purpose, and the vision you have predetermined for your life. By being grounded, you will earn self-respect and confidence, knowing that you are capable of facing anything life throws at you and emerge on the other side stronger because of it. And then the site goes on to list some tips on how to stay grounded with some scenarios and context, but I just extracted a few of those tips. Like the first, surrender to the storms of life and remember the words of the great Epictetus. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is a habit, not an act. So in what ways do you habitually keep yourself grounded, especially when you start to feel uprooted, ungrounded? And then the article goes on to say that we all deal with pain. We all face adversity. It's part of our humanness. We all have to contend with unexpected trials and setbacks. How do you embrace the journey on which life places you? Choose to believe that life is happening. Notice what that choice of mindset can affect. To stay grounded, you must believe that whatever you're facing is temporary. That mindfulness honoring of in the grand scheme of things, it's a small redirection on your path to bigger and better things. You can endure the challenge and learn the skills necessary to overcome your adversity. It really stressed that we can learn new skills, even empathy, which is such a huge, powerful ability to shift our perspective, not only of ourselves, but also of others, especially when we're feeling perhaps that we're being victimized. And then it goes on to say, to stay grounded, you can't control all of the outcomes or force the story to play out the way you want, but you can control what you are doing in this moment, right now. So focus on what you can control one day at a time, and you can control also the story you choose to tell yourself about what is happening in the present. Anybody who studied journalism, they talk about how there's so many viewpoints to the same situation. And to remember, as yoga reminds us, that we have a choice on what viewpoint we can liberate and empower ourselves with. And to stay grounded, stand strong in the face of adversity and maintain an optimistic state. It takes work, not bypassing, but finding a way to get back to the perspective that empowers you. You must take care of yourself. And it says, when the shit hits the fan, it is times like these when you must double down on self-care. And finally, remember that everything we are experiencing can be used for good, even if it doesn't look so right now. If only we are willing to first see the good within the chaos. Wow, that takes so much tapas, right? That limb of yoga that talks about discipline and a truth-seeking, satya, instead of abiding to the status quo if everybody else is feeling hopeless. How do you keep that light ignited within you and ground at the same time. So I invite you to sit comfortably. Maybe you orient a moment and just look around your environment and feel where you are right now in this moment. Setting aside whatever you were just doing or what you anticipate doing after this, committing to this hour of self-care, which is so potent, especially in times of distress. And then placing your left hand at the center of your chest, place your right hand onto the ground, wherever you can reach it. Feel the surface that you are sitting on as you press against it, leaning into that support. And now allow that grounding downward to help uplift a posture of confidence in your spine, at the center of your chest as your heart rises, at your crown. And perhaps even close your eyes. Notice what you're feeling in your body, in your inner space. Paying attention to whatever shifts within, and not only physically, but so important mentally and energetically. Tune into your subtle layers of being. When that paying attention, continue to stay grounded with awareness, embodied presence, able to shift and adapt as the moment calls for, knowing that you can take your own child's pose, your own added advanced variation, as it's aligned to what you're feeling in the moment with truthfulness. Allow a deeper inhale to fill up your lungs, and then down into the pit of your belly. And then through your mouth, let it go. Make a sound if you like. All the way out to empty. Invite even a slower in-breath. Feel the gentle expansion within your body. Reaching fullness, hover there for a few seconds. And feel your exhalation ease out, maybe even hear it ease out. And then pause at empty for a few seconds. And then one last time, inhale through your nose. Holding it in. And exhale to your mouth. Holding it out. Now I invite you to place your right hand on your lower belly, just below your belly button, as we begin Durga Pranayama, a grounding, calming breath. 3-part breathing. Empty this breath, and then just hold it out for a moment. And now we're just going to breathe through the nose into your belly. Inhale 1/3. Then into the sides of your rib cage. Inhale 1/3. Then into the top of your chest. Inhale the last third. Pause your breath. Relax your shoulders down. Sit tall. And then to your nose, softly whisper all of the breath out. Feel your belly gently press inward towards your back. Hold your breath out, still uplifted in your spine. And then again into your belly, inhale 1/3. Side ribs, inhale 1/3. Chest, inhale 1/3. Hold it in, feel what's here. And as you let it go through the nose, feel what sensations pass through. Hold it out. One more time into the belly, inhale. Side ribs, inhale. Chest, inhale. Hold it in. And let it all go. Hold it out. And this time, without holding your breath, fill up slowly through all 3 parts. And as you arrive at the top, transition gently into the exhalation, equal in-breath, equal out-breath in length. Refine a soft whispering sound that you create by gently constricting the back of your throat as we now begin Ujjayi Pranayama, another calming and grounding breathing technique called Victorious Breath. So as you listen to your breathing, let the sound, the rhythmic sound, feel like an anchor to your mind, to what's here right now, especially if you find your mind start to wander elsewhere. Let your breath ground you. If your eyes are closed, softly blink them open. And then I invite you to stay seated, but splay out your legs, bending your knees into a seated squat. If the soles of your feet are not entirely pressing the ground, then flex your feet. Feel stability by rooting down through the parts of your soles that can. And then bring your arms onto the inner sides of your thighs as you press in either onto the floor or onto props like blocks. Roll your shoulders back and down, and then root to the left and right sides of your pelvis. And breathe up as though you could from the base of your spine, the area of the root energy center, Muladhara chakra, up the ladder of each vertebra, lifting your sternum, chin parallel to the ground, lifting through the back of your skull, through the crown of your head. And though you're lifting and rooting, can you soften any edges that might seem to over-tense, to grip, perhaps even just because you're focusing? Let balancing your own energy be a means of grounding as well. Knowing when there's too much of one thing or the other and finding that center again. Now keep your left hand on its side, pressing against your inner thigh with your arm, and then raise your right arm to the sky. Rotate your right tricep towards the front, so bend the elbow. And then bring your palm towards the back of your skull. Gently lean into your palm as you lift your heart center, rotating your rib cage. Let both of your shoulders descend. Let your front ribs melt inward towards your back body. And maybe you're even gazing up towards the sky while relaxing your eyes and your forehead. Rotating your rib cage in the spinal twist. And at the end of your exhale, place your right hand on the inner side of your right thigh, press against your thigh, and then raise your left arm. Rotate your rib cage to your left. Rotate your left tricep forward, and then bring your palm behind your skull as you gently lean into it. Lift through the back of your neck. Rotating your chest. Refreshing breath in. Clear breath out. Feel your 2 shoulder blades sliding downward. And at the end of your exhalation, release both hands and bring the soles of your feet together in bound angle pose. Catching hold of your big toes or your outer feet, let the soles of your feet splay open like you're reading a book. And then firm down to your pelvis, lift up to your spine, extend your sternum, which is the middle of your chest, forward, little by little as you exhale. And you might choose to crawl your hands forward, maybe even walk your hips to the left for a couple of breaths, and then to the right for a couple of breaths. Feel the firm foundation of your pelvis connected to the surface it's leaning on. So that while we might extend ourselves, connect with the outside world, do what we need to do in this life, we have that point of connection to the earth, literally. Now come back to center. Just slowly rise up. Bring your hands to your outer thighs, lifting your knees, and let's come on up to stand at the very top of your mat, entering a slow flow. Now, if you'll want to use blocks when we step into a lunge, place them on the outsides of your heels on their tallest height like this. I'll start out using the blocks. Separate your feet hips distance. See that your second toes are parallel to each other, and then spread your toes off the mat and activate the muscles in your legs. Feel your kneecaps slightly lift. Then spread your toes on the ground, but keep that lifting action at the same time. From down through the four corners of each foot, and then lift to your crown as you turn your palms to face forward, relaxing your shoulders in mountain pose, Tadasana, equal standing pose. As you inhale, circle your arms overhead, look up, see your palms meet. And as you exhale, bend your knees so that you find the fullest length of your spine as you bow from your hips. Shifting a little more weight towards the balls of your feet. Press the ground of your legs. And inhale, lift your chest, elongate your spine forward as the shoulders slide back. Plant your fingertips outside your heels, maybe on blocks, and exhale, step the ball of your left foot all the way back. Now make sure that your feet are as wide apart as your, doesn't feel like you're on a tightrope. Your right knee is bent directly on top of your right heel. Now, without moving your legs, imagine as if you're dragging your 2 feet towards each other. Feel that isometric energy, and it allows your pelvic floor to activate and lift slightly. Even the belly activates. Then with the help of your legs, start to raise your arms overhead, coming into crescent lunge. Wrap your triceps forward. Lift up from your outer hips to your armpits and fingertips. And though you're relaxing your shoulders down, lift your heart and gaze up. Maybe your palms meet. Take another 2 breaths. Now, as you breathe out, back stroke your arms and carefully plant your hands flat on the ground to step into plank pose. You could either have your knees on the floor directly under your hips, or legs straight, firming your heels back so your quadriceps are active. Make sure that your wrists are right under your shoulders and your gaze is on the ground ahead of your hands as you broaden your chest forward. Slightly lift your navel. Now take another deep inhalation. Chaturanga Dandasana. Exhale, glide forward as far as you can. Keep that long line of your spine. Bend your elbows to graze your side ribs, passing 90-degree bend, and then come all the way to the ground. Cobra pose. Point your toes and actively stretch your tailbone towards your inner heels. Ground your pelvis and firmly the tops of your feet, but not your knees. And as you hug your elbows close to your sides, coil your chest up, looking on the ground ahead as you soften your shoulders down. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Imagine as if you're dragging your hands towards your hips without visible movement. Again, isometric. Tucking your toes or pressing hands and knees to the floor. Lift your pelvis by engaging your abdomen, and then draw your sitting bones downward facing dog. First one, you might want to shift, and warm up your hamstrings and calves, or any movement. Create strong roots with your hands by separating your wrists, shoulders width apart, and aligning the creases of your wrists parallel to the front edge of your mat. Between your thumbs and index fingers, flatten against the floor while you rotate your triceps or outer upper arms towards the ground. Those counteractions create your skull. Steady your eyes now on the ground towards your feet. And as you press your chest slightly back towards your shins, draw your navel towards your spine and lift your tailbone as high as you can, maybe with knees bent. Feel weight shift down the backs of your legs to your heels, even if they don't meet the floor. And let's take 2 more breaths here in downward dog. On your next in-breath, raise your left leg behind you, leveling your 2 hips. As you exhale, round forward, bending your left knee towards your nose, before lightly stepping your left foot just inside of your left hand. Hands on blocks or the floor, come onto your fingertips. Make sure that your legs are hips width apart and parallel. Your left knee is stacked right above the heel. Bring the internal action of scissoring your legs towards each other and feel that igniting at your pelvic floor, lower belly. Then slowly rise up, arms overhead in crescent lunge. Now, if you're finding your pelvis is sort of spilling forward like this, you could bend your right knee or even add the support of lowering your right knee in order to slightly lift your frontal hip bones. Find an upright spine. Let's take 3 more breaths. Steady your gaze. On your exhalation, backstroke your arms and open your chest, slowly lowering your fingertips at the front of your mat, then stepping your right foot forward, feet hips distance apart at the top. Forward folds. Press into the ground of your legs and inhale, rise halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold again. From down through your feet, perhaps bend your knees. Inhale, rise tall, let your palms meet overhead. Exhale, trace your thumbs down the center line of your body, side 2. A little more continuous. Inhale, circle your arms, gaze up. Exhale, bow forward. Press with your fingertips and inhale, lengthen your sternum forward. Lower your hands outside your feet and exhale, all of right foot back into a lunge. Energize your legs and slowly rise up, inhaling into crescent lunge. Backstroke your arms and land in plank pose of your choice. Continue the exhale down by gliding forward through Chaturanga Dandasana. Either all the way down for Cobra or flip your toes and enter upward facing dog as you breathe in. Engage your belly to lift your hips back to downward facing dog. Let's take 1 cycle of breath here in stillness. As you breathe in, raise your right leg behind you, squaring your 2 hips. Towards your nose to gently set your right foot just inside of your right hand, coming into a high lunge. Energize your legs and slowly rise as you inhale into crescent lunge. Then backstroke your arms as you exhale, land your fingertips at the top of your mat and step forward to fold. Root your legs, inhale, rise halfway, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold in. Firm to your feet, inhale, rise to the top. Watch your palms meet. Exhale, trace your midline, Tadasana. 1 more on each side, a continuous flow, steady your breathing. Inhale, circle your arms high. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Lower your fingertips. Exhale, step your left foot back, high lunge. Root down, inhale, rise to crescent lunge. Backstroke your arms and exhale from plank through Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale to Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog, settle into stillness, 1 cycle of breath. Inhale, raise your left leg slowly back. Exhale, bend the knee towards your nose, set the foot lightly inside of your left hand. Root down, inhale, rise up. Feel your center contained. Exhale, backstroke your arms, land your fingertips at the top of your mat, step forward to fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway up. Exhale, fold again. Root to your feet. Inhale, rise and expand. Look up. Exhale, trace your midline. Last side. Inhale, sweep your arms high. Exhale, bow down towards the earth. Inhale, lengthen your spine halfway up. Fingertips down. Exhale, ball of right foot steps back to a high lunge. Energize to rise slowly. Breathe in to crescent lunge. Back stroke your arms and exhale. Plank, lower through Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Be still, one cycle of breath. Inhale, raise your right leg behind you. Exhale, forward, softly step the foot inside of your right hand. High lunge. Inhale, rise slowly with control from the inside out. Exhale, back stroke your arms. Land your fingertips at the top of your mat. Step forward to bow. Lengthen halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, circle your arms to rise tall. Exhale, trace your midline. Feet together to touch. Bend your knees together to touch. As you sink your hips into chair for a few breaths, perhaps embrace the ground with your fingertips and play with keeping your hips that low as you raise your arms up. Relax your shoulders down, broaden your chest forward, gaze ahead. Point your tailbone downward as you hug in your front ribs. Glide your shin bones back, feel your weight shift towards your heels, and perhaps sit a little lower for one full breath. The end of your exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Step to plank or lightly float. Chaturanga Dandasana. Take your own vinyasa. Arriving in downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right leg behind you. Exhale, step your right foot inside of your right hand. Spin your left heel to the ground, but keep your feet hips distance. Keep your hips facing forward and press through the soles of your feet to rise into Warrior One. Now, Warrior One, as you're entirely straightening your left leg, feel the outside edge of your left foot rooted into the floor. While spinning your inner left thigh slightly towards the wall behind you, bend your right knee directly above your right heel, while drawing the thigh bone back deeper into your hip socket. Direct your tailbone down as you lengthen up to your crown. Relax your shoulders. 3 more breaths. Perhaps bring your palms to touch. Bring your hands together at your heart center and slide your right foot a few inches to the left to align your right heel to intersect the your left foot, which is slightly turned inward. Roll your right outer hip beneath your body to feel the full turnout of your right leg and align the center of your right kneecap with your center right toe facing straight ahead. Firm the top of your left thigh bone towards the right width of your mat and feel the bowl shape of your pelvis neutrally upright. Spine tall and centered between your arms wide apart. As your shoulders relax, steady your gaze just ahead of your right hand and let's take a few more breaths. Grounding in Warrior Two. Keep the bend of your right knee Flip your right palm to face up and lift both sides of your torso before laterally, leaning towards your rear wall in peaceful warrior, where your left hand lightly lands on your left leg as your right arm sweeps overhead. We're gonna move through a slow flow. Inhale here, then slowly rise up, bring your left hand to your left hip and crawl your right fingertips to the floor or a block 6 inches ahead of your right pinky toe and out to the right corner, dragging your left foot forward and flexing it as you lift the leg into half moon pose. With your chest completely facing your left wall, stack your 2 shoulders over your right wrist. Maybe add raising your left arm. Now expand in both directions as you direct your right glute towards your left lifted heel. With an exhalation, bend your right knee and very gently land your left foot back to warrior 2. Inhale, flip your right palm up, sweep it overhead and back to peaceful warrior. Exhale, reach your right hand to the ground or block upper right corner of right pinky toe, return to half moon pose. Stay in half moon as you take a deep breath and expand whatever shape you're creating. Then exhale, bend your right knee and softly land again, warrior 2. Again, inhale, flip the right palm overhead, peaceful warrior. Exhale, shift forward into half moon pose. Slow and steady within the constant motion. Breathe in to expand. Breathe out to slowly step back, warrior 2. Take this last cycle on your own and we'll meet in warrior 2. Though you're constantly in motion, can you bring a sense of groundedness within the constant movement? Remembering that being grounded doesn't depend on your external environment or circumstances or your pose. It depends on your inner state. When you arrive in warrior 2, take a couple deep breaths. And whether you choose to lower into plank to flow through a vinyasa or cat-cow, let's meet in downward facing dog in a few more breaths. And you trace your inhalation back through those 3 parts, your belly, your side ribs, your chest. Find the end of the inhalation. Then allow space to release it all the way out. Re-steadying, re-lengthening your breath. Arriving in downward dog, breathe in to raise your left leg behind you. Exhale, slow and controlled, set the foot down inside of your left hand. Keep your feet hips width as you spin your right heel down. Keep your hips facing forward as you root into the ground and rise. Warrior 1. Straightening your right leg fully. Wrap your inner right thigh behind you and ground the outside edge of your right heel. At the same time, bend your left knee right on top of your left ankle and draw the thigh bone back deeper into your hip socket. While lengthening your tailbone down, lift the crown of your head and feel your center strong and stable. As you steady your gaze, perhaps even seal your palms, let's take 3 more breaths. Focus on the quality of your breathing, the qualities you want to bring into your practice and into wherever you go next. Then join your palms at your heart and slide your left foot a few inches to the right to align your left heel to intersect the arch of your right foot. As you wrap your left outer hip slightly beneath your body, allow the center of your left knee to align with your center left toe down the midline of your mat. As your right leg slightly turns in, from the top of that thigh back towards the left edge of your mat. Feel your pelvic bowl upright and neutral as you open your arms wide, centering your spine. Relax any gripping you might start to feel, the sense of ungrounding that might become of overexertion. Or the opposite. I don't know if it's a word, but overlax. You know, find that medium. And you feel your own groundedness, balanced exertion. Now keep your with your left palm to face up, with both sides of your waist and lean towards your rear wall in peaceful warrior. Right hand lightly lands in right leg as left arm sweeps overhead. Now let's enter a flow. Breathe in here. Exhale, rise. Bring your right hand to right hip. Plant your left fingertips on the ground or a block. Upper left corner of your left pinky toe about 6 inches forward a bit. Drag your right foot in. Flex your right foot as you lift the heel to the height of your hip and turn your chest to face your right wall, stacking your 2 shoulders above your left wrist. Maybe even raising your right arm. Now let's take another inhale here in half moon, expanding in all directions as tailbone lengthens towards right heel. Very slowly as you exhale, bend your left knee and try to quietly land your right foot to the rear of your mat, re-entering warrior 2. Continuing the flow, inhale, flip the left palm up, keep it overhead, peaceful warrior. Feel your center strong as you exhale, shift forward. Drag your right foot forward into half moon. Pause there and inhale, expand in all directions. Exhale, slowly step back, warrior 2. Inhale, sweep the left arm overhead, peaceful warrior. Exhale, shift forward again, balancing in half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. Use the inhale to expand and the exhale to gently land. So take another 2 cycles at your own pace of breath. And let's eventually meet in warrior 2. Let the transition between the postures be a context for practicing focus, clarity of breath, kindness to self. All the qualities that will help us to ground. After a few breaths in warrior 2, take your time to lower through your chosen vinyasa, maybe a child's pose, and we'll eventually meet when we're facing dog. Breathing in, breathing out. Hear that soft whisper of your Ujjayi pranayama. Now from downward dog, walk your hands back to meet your feet. Coming into Padahastasana as you stretch your outer, lift your toes. Feel free to bend your knees. Slip your palms face up under the soles of your feet and try to get your toes to meet the inner creases of your legs. Shift your weight forward as you inhale to press your sternum through the gates of your upper arms. Exhale, hand forward, a deeper fold. All as you let your shoulders rise away from your neck. Once more, inhale, lengthen forward. Feel the space along the sides of your waist, sides of your neck. Maintain that space as you bow even deeper. Softly moving your head in any direction as you loosen your neck. And maybe even flaring your elbows apart to help lift your shoulders away from your neck. Breathe in, flutter your lips or side out. Any releasing breaths here. As we start to notice an accumulation of unnecessary tension, perhaps in the jaw or the neck and shoulders or the mind, we can practice these strategies that we do here in yoga, like fluttering the lips. They seem so simple, but how effective when we hold tension in our bodies to let that tension go. Keep your palms under. Bring your hands to your hips. Firmly ground through the soles of your feet. You might bend your knees in order to keep sort of a flat back. Point your elbows towards the sky. And then firm your belly. Firm the fronts of your thighs. And inhale slowly. Lead with your chest to rise. And then from here, shift your weight onto your right foot. Keep the your two hips balanced, and then bend your left knee to the height of your left hip as much as you can. Flex your left foot. Take hold of your outer knee with your left hand. Press into the ground with your standing foot and raise your right arm. Either stay here or to start straightening your left leg, bring your left arm inside of it and clasp your big toe. Or maybe use a strap around the foot. Extending your left leg only as straight as it allows you to still align your two shoulders evenly above your two hips. Now listen to your breath as we stay a little longer in hand to big toe pose. Even when a situation can challenge our sense of balance, our sense of equilibrium, can we become aware of when we're falling out of balance? And let that awareness activate the tools we've been practicing here to reground ourselves. Take another breath in, and then slowly step your left foot down. Bring your arms by your sides and just take a deep breath in mountain pose. Feel the earth beneath your feet. Bring your hands to your hips to feel their balance as you raise your right knee about the height of your right hip, flexing your right foot. Catch your outer knee with your right hand and raise your left arm, and either stay here or bring your right arm inside of your leg and clasp your big toe, or use a strap around the foot. Only extending the right leg forward to the amount that you could keep your two shoulders balanced above your two hips. And as you press into the ground with intention of rooting down with the four corners of your left foot, feel the consequential lift of energy up the center line of your body. Feel your breath in through all three parts. Feel your ability to let go at the same time as you breathe out. Uttita Hasta Parangushtasana. Hand to big toe pose. Take one more breath in, and then softly step your right foot down, mountain pose. Feel the ground that supports you. And from here, I invite you to come to stand on your knees. We're going to come into sort of a gratitude posture, heart-opening pose, Ustrasana, camel. Now, if you have a yoga block, take the skinniest width and hug it right in between your thighs as you tuck your toes behind you. Bring your hands to your lower back, fingertips face down, and gently think of drawing your tailbone downward towards the earth, right between your knees. Keep your pelvis directly above your knees. And then lift your back ribs as you're drawing the tailbone down. Lift your chest. And inhale, rotate your shoulder heads behind you, then down. Begin to look up as your chest rises. Keep breathing. Coiling your chest up. And if it's reachable, try one hand to one heel, holding the heel like a baseball. Or both hands to your heels, or switch. Using any signals of sensation that your body gives you as guidance. If you start to feel pain in the lower back, perhaps you put your hands in the lower back and ease out of the back bend just a little bit, just going to that point where you could still breathe fully and open your body. Self-regulation. When you decide to come out of it with your hands on your lower back, contract your abdomen and slowly roll your spine upright. And then just have a seat. You might take the block and place it between your ankles like a stool. Relax the tops of your feet down. Maybe even close your eyes for 3 deep breaths, noticing what's present right now in you. One last round of camel pose. Take your block between your thighs. Either tuck your toes or go a little further and flatten the tops of your feet on the floor. With your hands on your lower back, draw your tailbone down and lift your chest. Roll your shoulder heads behind you and down. And you're here on your own for 5 to 10 full breaths. Let the opening of your heart center invite the freedom to breathe more fully, to breathe more deeply. Whenever you feel ready, let's meet sitting down again, resting for a few breaths, paying attention. To lower onto hands and knees. Have a block near your hand somewhere, just in case you might use it as we enter a spinal twist called thread the needle. Here's an option to simultaneously open your inner thighs. Step your left foot out to the left side so the sole of your foot is entirely grounded and the arch of your foot is in line with your right knee. Now, as we enter thread the needle, if you find that having your left leg out makes the posture inaccessible, just revert to placing your left knee on the ground. Raise your left arm and open your chest. Take a deep breath. Then exhale, thread your left arm under your right bent elbow. Flare your right elbow towards the sky to help you find room for twist. Use your right fingertips to press the ground away. Rest the left side of your head all the way down, using a block if needed. Breathe here. Allow the spinal twist to invite decompression along your spine, as well as clarity for energy to flow through your 7 main energy centers that begin at your roots, Muladhara chakra, base of your spine. Go all the way up to the crown of your head. Relax your shoulders, down your back. 2 more breaths. At the end of your exhale, gently press up onto your hands, your knees. And let's carefully switch sides so that if you stepped your left foot out, go ahead and step your right foot out. Sole the foot on the ground, arch line with left knee. Raise your right arm and take a deep breath. Open your chest. Exhale, thread your right arm beneath your left bent elbow. Rest the right side of your head all the way down. Use a prop if you need. As you flare your left elbow high, use your left fingertips to press the ground away. Shoulders relaxing away from your neck. Let's take 3 more breaths here in this digestion activating twist. And let's enter child's pose, bringing your feet together at the rear of your mat. Sink your pelvis to your feet. Have your arms wherever you like. Pausing here so your body can fully be at rest as you take 3 longer exhalations than inhalations. Perhaps counting from 5 as you breathe in and counting from 7 as you breathe out. As you feel ready, walk your hands back beside your knees, pressing the ground away as you slowly breathe in to roll your spine upright. Come to a sit with your legs straight in front of you for a seated forward fold, Paschimottanasana. And if you have a strap and want it for assistance, place it around the balls of your feet. Separate your feet hips width, flex your feet, ground your sitting bones, and then lift your heart, open your throat, and begin to bow from your hips. Now, if you're not using a strap, grab onto your legs or clasp your big toes. Can you integrate a sense of opening and lifting your chest like a baby cobra pose while you bow deeper, firming your belly in? Feel the groundedness of your pelvis. In your next inhalation, lead with your chest and slowly rise up. Come to lower onto your back, whether landing right away in Shavasana or taking a moment, just like another minute, to perhaps enter Happy Baby, a gentle twist on your back, or to raise your legs, whatever you might need to do if you're not yet ready to be still. let your body remain here still resting. Just another minute at least. Consider entering for 5 minutes sitting in meditation. As I believe meditation is such a key factor in grounding ourselves. It's that ultimate watching how our minds work, even when it seems like we're watching chaos of one thought pulling you after another. But as we practice staying grounded in the present, observing thoughts without having to hook or grip or follow them into stories, right there, we're strengthening our ability to ground. And the mind can be one of the most complicated and often challenging things to work with, more so than our external circumstances. So take your time if you're going to sit up for meditation to begin moving your body gently. Simple stretches, maybe turning your head, perhaps gradually drawing your knees into your chest. Chosen a sound ambiance that's pretty consistent. So one way to help steady or ground your attention as you're meditating is to let it soften onto one particular sound that's consistent. Focusing on that sound. So whether you close your eyes or steady your gaze, perhaps even practicing gazing meditation, let's begin. I'm setting the timer now for 5 minutes. slowly join your palms to meet at your heart, lifting your heart as you drop your chin to bow towards it. Remembering that we have these tools within us to feel centered, ground, calmer, regardless of what is happening around us. Thank you for coming together for that reminder and strengthening. Let's close the practice, chanting one Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.